Welcome, my friends. Welcome to the Stillwater America podcast. We sit down with extraordinary people who do life in Stillwater, Oklahoma, because we believe that every story should be told. My name is Les Thomas. Nevertheless Thomas. I am your host, and today I'm sitting down with Rachael Condley. But before we jump into this conversation with Rachael the Great, will you please go ahead and subscribe to the podcast and leave a review? Follow us on Instagram at StillwaterAmerica. It will mean the world to us. Rachael, how are you doing?
I'm so good.
Hey, you know what? Listen, I just got to tell the people, y'all don't understand that Rachael and I, we've been having an amazing time. Before we got started, we talked for a long time.
We had to stop to start.
We are clicking on all cylinders already this early.
I hope they're ready because we're ready.
I hope you are ready. So, Rachael, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I first and foremost, my 15-year-old got an award the other day. And
Come on
he stood up in front of a room full of grown-ups and said, the most important thing that you should know about me is I'm a Christian.
Come on.
And I have told that boy his whole life, your identity is in Christ Jesus.
Come on.
And it never has occurred to me that when I'm introducing myself, that's what I should start, if that's what I am. So
Come on.
I am a follower of Jesus.
Come on.
Imperfect.
Yep.
Just hot mess express. That's why I need the great physician. So I am a follower of Christ. I was born in the Oklahoma Panhandle.
Okay. Now where in the Panhandle? Balco.
Do you know Balco? If you've ever gone skiing and gone through the Panhandle to go to Colorado, you've probably passed my school on the highway. Okay. There's bison on the fence for all of our state championships.
Come on, all the state championships.
So, real small school. Class C football, 8-man.
C.
Yeah. So when I came to college, I was like, why are there so many people on the field and why aren't they scoring more? But I grew up in a real small town out there, graduated high school, raised all my life out there. Less than 120 kids in our school, K through 12.
K through 12.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I graduated with 19 kids in my class. 11 of those I started kindergarten with. So, so then moved to Stillwater in 1996, came to Oklahoma State University.
So, hold on. We just can't transition like that. Like, to go from a town so small.
Yeah.
Right? You said K through 12 was 100 and...
less than 120.
Less than 120.
Yeah.
To go from a town so small to Stillwater America, like a university that has, what would you say, over 20,000 people or so?
Yeah, around that time it was about 20,000, yeah.
What was that like? What was that transition like?
It was terrifying.
I believe it.
It was terrifying. I did not leave campus for a long time.
Really?
I made friends I lived in Wilhelm Dorm, 4th floor. So it was acceptable to take the elevator, but you could choose to take the stairs. Yeah. I had the best of all the things.
Yeah, right? You could do either way.
But I met a girl on my dorm floor named Mandy, and she was from Mountain View, Oklahoma. Okay. So bigger than Balco, but another small town. Okay. And we just kind of found each other, ended up living with her all through my undergrad. And so thankful I found her. But it was frightening. I remember specifically one moment in time, my mom moved me up to school. And we drove up to the dorm, and there are people and cars everywhere. And of course, we had visited campus, but I'm now I'm moving here. And she looked at me and she said, "Do you think you're going to like it?" And I said, "No." And I cannot imagine now as a mom, her still leaving me there in that moment, how hard that was for her.
Well, and Panhandle, that's how far is that? How many hours?
It's 3 hours and 45 minutes from my hometown. You even know
the minutes.
Back and forth, man. I've got it down. But 3 hours and 45 minutes from my house to Stillwater.
And your mother dropped you off. So what made you choose OSU?
To be completely honest with you, I was going to go where I got the best scholarships. And it was just really critical for us. It was never a question. I don't remember there ever being a question of whether or not I was going to go to college, but I worked really, really hard to get scholarships because I knew we didn't have a whole lot of money to go to college. And Oklahoma State, just historically, and I've learned through the years, they do a lot to get really great freshmen to come to Oklahoma State. Yeah. And saw the potential in me, you know, but again, God was working, right? Because I had a full ride to Alva, to Northwestern, Oklahoma State University, and that's where my older brother went, played basketball there.
There we go.
He's 10 years older than me, so I had been to Alva, I had seen it, smaller town, right?
Yeah.
So outside looking in, that would have been the place for me to go. But at the moment I came to school, I wanted to be a doctor. And so I thought, I feel like I need more options, and I want to go to a larger university. I thought, until we pulled up in the parking lot, and then I was like, hard pass.
Yeah.
But I worked with an admissions counselor named Donnie Miller, and he I don't know where he is now. Shout out to him though.
Shout out to Donnie.
Because I think he knew the situation. He worked with a lot of rural Oklahoma students, and I think he saw the writing on the wall. This is going to be a hard transition for you. We're going to do all we can to help you. And I ended up getting a larger scholarship to come where my costs effectively would be covered.
Yeah.
So I took it, and so proud to be a cowboy.
That's amazing how God like just bump us to, I call it bump us to where he wants us to be, kind of like he just bumps us, and then next thing you know, that's why it happened the way that happened, because God wanted me to take that pathway. So you spoke about, you knew you wanted to be a doctor. Tell us about that pathway at OSU. Like, how did you come to the conclusion of what type, not just a doctor, but a certain type of doctor?
Right.
And tell us about that.
Well, so, you know, you look, talking about the story and how God weaves your life and how he's working in it. And, you know, you see the top and it's this, you know, even kill, well, I did this and I did this, and it all looks straight and put together. And then you look underneath the tapestry and it's just a crazy, like all this stuff going on. It looks so chaotic.
Yeah.
Well, when I enrolled at OSU, I wanted to be a doctor, but my first semester, I enrolled in the College of Arts and Sciences. I was going to be a biology major, and then that was going to get me all my pre-med requirements and whatever. But through high school, I really loved nutrition. I had a home ec teacher that did a unit on foods and calories, carbohydrates, protein, like all the makeup of foods, how they work in your body, how they give you energy. And it just intrigued me. And I just was so interested in it. Now looking back, I was passionate about it, and I didn't know what that was then, you know? So I kind of kept that, like, I found out there's this thing called a dietitian. Yeah. And I never heard of it before, but when I came to school, I was like, no, I'm going to be a doctor. From the time I was little bitty, I wanted to be a missionary doctor in Brazil.
Yeah. Okay.
They speak Portuguese in Brazil, and I don't speak Portuguese. And there's a lot of like, you know, but just for some reason I was like, no, I need to be a missionary doctor in Brazil. Okay. So fast forward to college. I enrolled in the College of Arts and Sciences. It was huge. We pick our class schedule, you know, with a big group, and you know, it's so big. But I took a nutrition class that very first semester, Nutrition 2114, and I got in there and loved it. So a couple of classes in, the professor announced that they were looking for work study students in their department. Yeah. And my mom and I had kind of talked through it, and my dad, and decided first semester, let's try to go without you having a job. It's going to be a big adjustment. Let's make sure that you've got, you know, head on straight, classes are priority. Well, you know, college, you go from, I'm in high school all day, every day. And then college, you're in class maybe 2-3 hours a day. And the rest of the day, I was like,
what am I supposed to do?
And, you know, I was feeling kind of lost, floundering anyway. Yeah. So I thought, I need to be busy and I need some money. And so I went up to my professor, and it was one of those classes in a huge auditorium, 200 kids. So she makes this announcement. And of course, I'm like, well, they're never going to pick me, but I have a work study award. I'll just go talk to her. Well, I ended up getting a job in the nutrition lab. Okay. And so working with people in the nutrition department, working with professors. So before the end of that first semester, I had changed my major to nutritional sciences, and I was going to be a dietitian. Boom. Yeah. So stayed with it. Graduated with my degree in nutritional sciences, did my dietetic internship, got my master's from OSU. Come on. In the same. So again, now where I'm at, you look back at that, and that's just one of the experiences that have been put together for me to do the job I'm doing.
I love it. So here it is, small town girl in a large town, Stillwater. Like, once you decided to get involved with other things and not just stay in your room. Yeah, right. Right? Mm-hmm. Or just stay on campus. Yeah. Like, do you remember any of the places that you like to go to eat? Or I remember back in the day, you know, we're the same age. Yep. I remember I used to go to Stillwater to go to like clubs and stuff like that. So like, I think was it still called Tumbleweed back then?
Yeah, it was Tumbleweeds, but
it was like 3 different clubs
Palladium was in there, and that was the one that played the good, good stuff.
Yeah. So, what was your favorite places? What was your favorite things to do? Like, tell us about Stillwater. Your experience in Stillwater now. Small town girl coming there. Now you're getting out of your shell. What is Eskimo Joe's? What did you like to go eat?
So I wasn't in a sorority. Again, a small town girl. I look back now and I laugh, although I know the path was right for me.
Absolutely.
I sat through the meeting for Greek life.
Okay.
And I thought, this sounds really cool to be in a sorority, but then they described how Rush works. And I was like, nobody would pick me. I'm not going to be the girl getting their books the last day because I didn't get a bid. Well, now I know that's not how it works. They work really hard to place everybody where they belong. But at the time, I didn't rush because I was so stressed out about the thought of that process. Mm-hmm. So, you're in a dorm floor and the RAs work really, really hard to get all the kids plugged in. Yeah. Because that's retention, right? Like all the kids that were homesick like me, we need to be in a community.
Yep,
well,
relationship.
One day there was this flyer on the bathroom mirror and it said, try out for cowboy co-eds. I was like, what is that?
Okay.
So there was one of my mom's very best friends, her son, Brent Guy, was actually a football coach for OSU at the time. And so I found out that Cowboy Co-eds were like the organization. They did volunteer work in the football office, assigned to a coach, hosted recruits when they came in, like made sure, sit with the parents, do you have any questions, like show them around town and stuff. And so as a group, you got to know all this stuff about the Big 12 and about, football. So I was like, got to study up on 11, man. So I applied.
Not 8, man.
Yeah, that's right. So I applied and was accepted.
Okay.
And that became such a neat, I went once a week to work for Coach Guy in the football office. And then got to kind of be around that environment. And so
that's fun.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And I know some of those organizations have caught flack in recent years, but man, we just had a good time. And that was my community. That was my sorority, were those girls, and still friends with a lot of them to this day. Yeah. And so we hung out, with a lot of football players, and those were my friends. And oh, gosh, I loved it. And that's actually how I met my husband. So.
Come on, somebody. Okay.
I know.
Tell us about that. Come on.
All right. So one day, a bunch of us were going to FCA, and we drove over to pick up this guy from his house. And there's this other guy sitting on the porch reading his Bible. And I'm like, who's that guy?
Yeah. Who's
that guy reading his Bible? And then, at the time, because I was young. I was young, forgive me, but I was like, that seems kind of a boring thing to do on a Thursday night. And I'm like, who's that guy? Well, that's Seth Condley.
Yeah.
All right. So I was like, hey, Seth Condley. But, again, God nudging you where you need to be. Yeah. We were friends for a long time. Then we started dating. And then, do you remember Orange Peel?
No, I don't think so.
I know. I'm so sad it's done. So Orange Peel used to be like a concert comedian before the first home game of every single year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he proposed to me at Orange Peel.
Okay. Which we need to bring that back, but go ahead.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
But he proposed to me at Orange Peel, which was a huge surprise and really awesome. And we ended up getting married on the football field.
Really?
April 28th, 2001. They were about to redo the turf, so they agreed to let us have a small wedding. So we invited 400 people because that seems small for a football field. And
400 people was a lot of people.
It was a lot of people, and we had such a good time.
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, when I think about it, I can't think of, I haven't heard about a lot of weddings being on a football field. Like, I think you might have been.
I don't think there's been another one. Because after we had ours and they redid the turf, I mean, I've heard since then they charge like $50,000.
Well, you're going down in history now. You're going down in history.
I mean, not a lot of people I talk to have been married on a football
field.
Come
on now.
So
you need to put that in your bio. Married on
OSU. It was Lewis Field.
Yeah, Lewis Field at the time.
Before it was Boone Pickens Stadium. Yeah.
Before he brought the $500 million.
Right. I mean, which was a great investment.
Oh, yeah. Great.
But yeah, so got married on the football field, and they used to run out of a blow-up helmet. We had the blow-up helmet that I walked out of a beautiful yard. And it sounds a little bit ridiculous, but it was actually beautiful. It was so fun.
Cool.
It was
Listen,
so fun.
The thing about us is like, as fans and as, we're loyal and true. And so I'm not sure if something can be considered as too much. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, just if you could have walked out with anyone, I mean, walked out any type of way, if it has something to do with OSU, it's like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, and nobody's going to question it.
Because you did something that, hold on, okay, so you know what I do at the school.
I do.
I get tons and tons of requests. Can I do this? Can I do that? Can I, can I propose? I mean, all these different things, but it's so many rules now.
Right.
So for me to hear that you got married on the field, you know how many people would love to do that? And you can say you did it.
We did it. And it was such again, I don't ever want to overstate it because I don't want it to seem like God cares about these minute details, but I believe he cares about everything.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But even then, just the way we were granted permission and the way things worked out, and we didn't have a plan B. Our wedding was April 28th outside in Oklahoma.
Yeah,
and we didn't, dumb kids.
Right,
but at the
time,
season. Seth was a kicker on the football team. His best friends were football players. I was a Cowboy co-ed. That was our whole OSU football was our whole thing.
Yeah,
and so I love it when I go to a wedding and it's a reflection of the couple. You know what I mean? Like it's a great reflection of their lives together. And so I felt like that's what it was.
And that was your community. So that's cool.
Yeah, it was so fun.
So here we go. It's fast forward to 2023 now, right?
Right.
And you're still in Stillwater. So at that time when you graduated and your husband was there, you're married. What kept you in Stillwater? What was the decision on let's stay here and plant here?
Well, we loved it. Obviously, we had gotten connected to a local church. Then we're married and. He finished up with his bachelor's in student teaching and everything. And then the next semester I got my master's. Then we were found out about 6 months after we were married, found out we were expecting our first child. And so,
there we go.
We were like, well, where's a great place to raise kids? And he was from Muskogee, so eastern side of the state.
I know where that's at.
Yeah. Yep. And then I, of course, was from the Oklahoma Panhandle. I would have loved to move back home, and I kind of always thought I would.
Yeah.
But they're just, as I'm looking for employment opportunities, at this time I'm a dietitian. I was working part-time doing some consulting, traveling around a little bit, but you start looking for employment opportunities. Seth was super passionate about soccer.
Okay.
He played soccer in high school. OSU didn't have a men's soccer team, so he came and kicked for OSU because he loved OSU. OSU family, legacy. But we start looking around for employment opportunities, and I think at one point we just both thought, why are we working so hard to try to go somewhere else?
Yeah.
A lot of our friends were, but we loved it here. We loved the community that we had, and you kind of get to another phase of life where then you're meeting other families that are here and you're meeting other people raising their kids here. And we just kind of transitioned and here we are.
Look, and you're still here, 2023.
Still here.
Now I'm gonna ask you this question. I want to dive into our daily bread, but let's get into what would you say was like the biggest difference between 1996 when you arrived in 2023. What's some of the changes, if you can think of some of the biggest changes that happened in Stillwater since you arrived? Other than all the extra restaurants, the restaurants.
Yeah, lots more places to eat. So I listened to the podcast you did with Bobby from District and Elaine. And I think, what stands out to me is just the community culture that's been built in the last 20 years through Visit Stillwater and so many things. It's not dependent on the university anymore. OSU is a huge part of what we do and who we are, but there are so many people like me. I live there.
Come on.
And I worship there and I eat there and I enjoy bands there and I enjoy art there. And and I think as the population has bloomed out at the grassroots level, there are so many of us around my age, younger, that, are like, no, we want our experience living here to not have to go to Oklahoma City or Tulsa to be exposed to bigger and better things.
Come on.
McKnight Center.
Beautiful place.
Oh, man. And just the opportunities that we have as citizens of Stillwater, not just as OSU alums, to enjoy so many things. It's just, to me, that's where it's at. It's just expanded at the grassroots level to be just a better experience in community culture.
Yeah. That's a beautiful thing about StillwaterAmerica. It's like, it's growing really fast and it's at a place where you can just stay there. You don't have to run to Tulsa or Oklahoma City, right? And it's not too big where it still feels cozy like family.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That's a big small town. I've heard us described
big,
as
small
that
town.
so many times. We're a big, small town.
I need to add that to the intro.
You can have that.
Yeah. Thank you, Rachel.
You're welcome.
Now listen, hey, I'm gonna tell y'all now. Me and Rachel, I think she need to be my co-host or something because like she's so articulate and fun, and we just had a blast. In fact, Heady, if you listen to this, you probably know Heady. Heady would have to tell us, come on now, we need to get started.
You did. Again, we had to stop so we could start. That's why I'm so glad to be here. I told you we wouldn't have a problem conversing.
At all.
It's not hard.
So glad you're here. So tell us about Our Daily Bread.
Man, this place. So we are a food and resource center.
Okay.
And our mission is feeding our community collaboratively and providing connections that enable lasting change.
Come on.
So what that means when you break it down, we feed people. Our model is a small grocery store where people can come and choose their own groceries once a month if they're experiencing food insecurity, which is a lack of access to nutritious foods to provide a healthy lifestyle. Okay. So college student, if you're eating ramen all the time because you want to,
that's different.
We need to talk, but that's different. If you're eating ramen all the time because you have to, come see me. Family of 6. If you're, eating $5 pizzas because you want to, that's different than I'm doing this because this is all the rest of my check and I have to and I can't afford fruits and vegetables. Come see me. And we are blessed to have an area where we do that, but we can't do it ourselves. The collaboration piece comes in. We have hundreds of volunteers that come in every month and help us do our work. We have hundreds of donor supporters that come in with their checkbooks and help us do our work. So that's where, it takes everybody to do what we do. So we've got this small grocery store. People come in, they select items for their household. It goes up in items per category for the size of household. So if you have a household size 2, you're going to get a few less choices than a household size 10.
Absolutely.
But the connections that enable lasting change. Our whole model is you're going to come in, we're going to sit down with you for a minute, not to inconvenience you, but I want to know you as a person. And then if you come in more than once, we're going to make you feel comfortable. You're our guest.
There we go.
Our visitors are not clients. They're not patients. They're not numbers. They're guests.
I love that because when you think about, for some of them, it was really hard for them to even admit that they needed help.
So hard.
Right. So y'all make sure y'all go out of your way to make sure that they're comfortable and feel like family.
We try really hard to and just create a community atmosphere. We play music. We as much as possible, I would love for it to just feel like I went to Sprouts and got my groceries today. Or I went to Our Daily Bread and got my groceries today and I didn't have to check out at the end. That's the difference.
So what was Our Daily Bread birthed out of? How did it come about?
I've heard so many stories. The notes I've found since I became director go back to like 2009. We opened in 2017.
Okay.
So there were some community members that just have had a heart for the food insecure in our community.
Okay.
One particular woman in our community, Christine Waits, she's told me this story. She just found out that there was a need in our community. So she learned of this thing called a potato drop. Through this large potato producer, you could request a semi-truck full of potatoes. And so she was like, oh, we need that. That makes sense. So she requests this semi. She gets it for our community. So then she starts calling around going, well, who can give this out to people that need it? And there would be this little food pantry over here, or this little one over here, but they're open once a month on Tuesdays from 6 to 7, but they're open here. But there was no, this is years ago, right? So there's no centralized website. There's no, you have to call the church office and they answer most of the time, but some of them that don't know when the food pantry is. And, just different efforts all over town because so many people have a heart for this ministry. But, that started the conversation with several people of, okay, we can do better than this. Like we're a big, small town. We can do better than this. So it culminated into 4 basically local churches and some key individuals in our community just throwing in their efforts and saying we can be better together.
That's cool.
And here we are.
I love that.
I love it too.
Collaborating, coming together, saying that, hey, I have this, you have that. Let's work together for the advancement of the kingdom, feeding people, not just spiritually, but physically, right? Making sure they have what they need. So how does one get involved with Our Daily Bread?
Well, our website, ourdailybreadstillwater.org. There's a lot, especially if you're a follower of Jesus, there's a lot of Our Daily Breads out there. So we are ourdailybreadstillwater.org on the web, and on Facebook. On Instagram, we're Our Daily Bread FRC. There are tons of signups. One of the things that we talk about on our website is you can give time, you can give money. So there's lots of opportunities listed on how you can get involved, whether you need groceries and want to help, whether you just want to help. Lots of ways.
So they can go to that same site if they need groceries or if they want to give financially.
Oh, right? Yeah. One site with all the information. And my number is 405-533-2560. So if there is any information you want that you don't see on that website, please call me.
I love it. So what does a weekly operation look like at your place?
Yeah, no, I'm so glad you asked. So our shopping floor is open. We have shopping hours, 2.5 hours, but if you're there before the door closes, you get to shop. So most of the time, we say our shopping sessions last about 3 hours. We have them on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday every single week. Wednesday afternoon is our mobile market day. We serve Payne County. So one of the things that we noticed several months after I came in, when I started in January of 2021, we were loading cars. Because
you came right after COVID.
I came during COVID.
During COVID. Yeah, I was saying that's during COVID.
What a great time to get a new job.
That's during COVID. I
think this sounds great.
Yeah.
I could tell you so much more about
you
that.
You had to have that conversation with your husband and everything.
Oh, there was a lot of conversations. But when we came back inside for shopping sessions, we were kind of reinventing ourselves. So we wanted to make sure that we had consistent shopping sessions and that people could get to us.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to meet a need
and
build relationships.
Yeah.
So one of the things we noticed is, there were people in Ripley that couldn't get to us. There were people in, Perkins, Glencoe, Cushing, Yale. They needed groceries and they couldn't get to us. So before I started, they had started doing this mobile market outreach on the OSU campus for especially,
that's so cool.
At the FRC, they would go and set up and serve families who would probably have to ride the bus to Our Daily Bread. You can do it. We have a bus stop, but then you've got all your groceries.
Yeah,
so
you got to carry them.
It's not the most convenient. So it was used as supplemental groceries, but also to tell people more about our main building. And so after I started, they had expanded to 2 other towns in Payne County. They had already had it on the books. So as we saw that kind of growing, then we added 2 more. So now every Wednesday afternoon, we're either going to the OSU Food and Resource Center or Perkins or Cushing or Yale. And we're going out into the community, giving away groceries, and then letting them know about either smaller food pantries where they exist or that they can come to Our Daily Bread and what those options are.
Come on, man.
So then shopping hours on Thursday. Then the 3rd Saturday of the month, we have shopping hours just in case someone can't get to us on a weekday.
Yeah.
And 1st and 3rd Friday, because we're really passionate about getting food into hands and not letting it go to waste.
Yeah.
We have what we call a freebie Friday. If we have stuff that we know isn't going to make it to the next shopping session, we just have a farmer's market style situation out in front of our building where all the community's invited.
Yeah.
So you could come by and get some extra avocados, and then I'd probably bring you in, give you a tour of the building.
Yeah, yeah. I like avocados
tell you to come back. For some reason, we've had a lot. That's why it's on my brain. But yeah. So lots of service opportunities, and then we try during those times too to have extra programming. We have SNAP signups, Medicaid signups. The other day we had an STI clinic, which, on a Friday when there's no shopping session so that it can remain confidential.
Yeah.
We have finance classes, cooking classes, nutrition classes.
Wow.
We try to offer all the things. So if you follow us on socials or look on our website, we have an upcoming events tab. And and we also have a salon where we cut hair. So
really?
Yeah, I know.
Come on, people need to get plugged in.
It's so much fun, and the energy is good, and it's such a welcoming place. At least I hope it is. And if you don't have that experience, call me because we need to talk about that. But we don't want somebody in need, no matter how they got there. We don't want them hanging their head. I pray frequently that God would just give us His eyes and His heart for people, because no matter how they got into their situation, here they are. And as people, we need to care for people. And if they're going to have any opportunity to get out of their circumstance that they found themselves in, no matter why, they need support, not judgment.
One of the things that 100% love is community work and like, being the hands and feet and just helping people. And we won't dive into, you said you could really talk about that, the transition. But I will say the question I do have is, what made you decide to be the director? Like at that time, what were you doing prior to, and tell us about that decision to be director?
Yeah. So, Becky Taylor was the first director of Our Daily Bread. They hired her before they even opened the doors.
Okay.
I had actually met her. She worked for the Tobacco Endowment Settlement, TSET.
Yeah.
Prior to that, I was working for Keystone Food Service. They do contracts for food with public schools, like K-12 schools.
Yeah. So
the first in my career, I consulted for long-term care facilities, nursing homes. I love the elderly. Did that for a long time, and then decided that this opportunity came up to work for Keystone. So I was like, well, I've worked with seniors. Now I'm going to work with kids.
Okay.
And so fun.
Yeah.
Trained kitchen staff, did menus, was a dietitian for them for 3 years. And then they let me try my hand at sales and marketing.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Okay.
But
you're a people person, so I know you love it.
Oh man.
Come on now.
It's just about relationships,
yeah.
right? I knew what we were doing and I knew it was valuable. So that wasn't hard for me to sell. But it's just, man, you got to meet people all over Oklahoma.
Yeah.
We partner with a lot of rural schools, which of course is where my heart is.
Your heart.
That's what I
You're like, I'm at home.
I'm like, exactly.
I'm at home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and I remember the day that we got the contract for the school I grew up in.
Really? Come on.
Yeah. And so
wow.
Going
so you went
out
back
there,
home.
And listen, going out there, the first time I visited that school as a dietitian, I was like, this is going to be really hard and sad because I'm not going to know anybody. Man, I walked in that school. So many people I knew had kids that were growing up in that school. And they looked like them. I could look out in the lunchroom and be like, okay, all right.
I see the connection.
So I'm like, hey, are you so-and-so's kid? And, that was so much fun. So much fun getting to go home. But
that's cool.
Yeah, so worked for Keystone Food Service and then sales and marketing. But the schedule, lots of evenings and weekends. So my husband and I have 4 kids. So I was trying to follow them around in their activities, be a supportive mom to them, and then also do this. And it was just a little bit much. So after a year, I went back to them and said, I think I need to be a dietitian again. And they were like, well, we kept growing. The company kept growing. Yep. And so they said, well, what about this? So I became vice president of operations, where I was over, essentially my territory was kind of half the state. I had 5 regional managers that on my team. And so I got to do that for a year.
You had a huge responsibility.
Huge responsibility, but such an opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it was a chance to do leadership. I had never had people under me like that. I consulted for years. And then my first job as Keystone, I didn't have direct reports. So I'm practicing leadership, all the things that I always thought would work. I got to try. Some of them did, some of them didn't. But huge growth opportunity for me. And I'm so thankful for it. Still love that company. They do such good work. But my mom actually texted me one day and she's like, did you know Becky is leaving Our Daily Bread? And I never thought she would leave. Yeah. And I remember, we didn't get to volunteer there much, but I remember we would go mainly around the holidays when we were all kind of off work and the kids were out of school. So I remember being there before Christmas, the year before, thinking, man, I love this place. Yeah. If this could be my job, I would be here all the time. So
you were thinking that before you even...
But not, it wasn't actually a career goal, but I remember having that thought. If I could never volunteer full-time because we need the money of me working, but God, if I could work here. And so mom sent me the announcement. I wasn't looking. I was happy where I was at. But when I looked at the job description, you talk about all the experiences you have just culminating. I was looking down through this list. The only thing I didn't have was grant writing experience. The rest of it was like, okay, I've done that. Yeah. I know that. I had my master's degree in nutrition. A dietitian with a master's, experience in leadership, I felt like all the things they were wanting. So I waited and waited because I was like, I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to change. We're in the middle of a global pandemic. What am I thinking? So, so the very last day that it was open, I sent my cover letter and resume to the email address. The last day it was open. Sent my email and my cover letter and resume, and I just said, I hope you find the best candidate on the planet for this job because I love this place, and if it's not me, that's great. But if you're interested, give me a call. And my phone rang.
Come on, yeah.
So then I have this interview, and it's with these board members, and I didn't know them. I had always I had always had jobs where I was actually working outside of Stillwater.
Yeah.
So I'm meeting these people that are just, hour and a half interview the first time. Everything's over Zoom.
Hour and a half. Ooh.
Everything's over Zoom because we're still COVID-y.
Pandemic.
So just the conversations I was having, I learned in the interview. And I thought, man, what an incredible experience. It's too bad they're never going to call me back, And then they called me for a second interview, had the same experience with the second interview. When you work at a place like Our Daily Bread, I mean, everybody on the board, everybody that works there, they're coming from a place of, I want to serve.
Absolutely.
And so I get to be surrounded by, yes, people in a hard moment of stress in their lives, but I get to be fed by people that want to love and help other people.
You just tapped into something. When I retired from the Air Force, I had a lot of opportunities. And again, we talked about me being an accountant, which I don't even know. I guess math was the only subject I was good at. So
you're like, all right.
But when I think about it, you just tapped on to me. You just made a statement that stood out to me. And that was, you were surrounded with other people, like-minded people. And I don't think people get, because people are like, when I left the military, I went to work for a nonprofit running an organization, a mentoring program, Northeast side of Oklahoma City. And they were like, you sure you want to do that? Man, I mean, you're a professional. You could do this. You could do so much. And I had so many job opportunities, right? And I like to run my mouth too, right? So I had the OSU thing, which is feeding the side of my personality. But then professionally, I had so many opportunities. But the thing that you just said was the determining factor. One, I have a heart for the community. Two, you were like-minded people. Think about how many people are working at a job where it's not even about your mind. It's not about your heart. It's not about your mind and what you care about people. And now you're saying, okay, I'm going to this nonprofit organization, this community of people that have a heart for people. And I don't think people realize or understand the value of that. They just look at money. They think about nonprofit and they say, oh, you're not going to make that much money. But they don't understand that there is value in being around like-minded people.
Oh, I mean, just the treasures that I have met and relationships I've been able to build with people I never would have encountered otherwise. That just, they love really well. And they take the gifts and talents God's given them and they use it for us. I mean, our board is stacked. Our staff, I've got the best team.
Come on.
God knows I don't ever want it to change. I know it will, and that's okay. And when they choose to leave me, I will celebrate them and all they've done for us, but don't leave me. Don't leave. But just seeing people grow and develop, and as we serve better and we have more outreach, their capacity is huge. And I can call. I found out So when we moved from outside to inside, we had some people that were resistant to that because it does take longer for you to wait a little bit and then go shop and get checked in and all that. And we have some people with some mobility issues, especially some of our seniors we see. They don't get in and out of the car easily. And so there was a lot of questions. Well, I found out one of the other food and resource centers in Comanche, she always offers a pickup option.
Okay.
And so I couldn't wrap my mind around how to do that with shopping and with the volunteers that we have. And so I called her and I said, Pam, I don't get how you're doing this. Can you walk me through it?
Yeah.
And, I came from a for-profit industry that I love.
Yeah.
But it was competitive. It was competitive internally. It was competitive externally. And I like to win.
Okay, there we go. Come on. I see it in your eyes.
I like to win.
The eye of the tiger.
So there was a lot of that I thrived on. You see what a competitor's doing out there and it's meeting a need and we're going to do it better.
Yeah.
But now I see what you're doing and you're serving your guests better. I'm going to call you and you're going to give me the blueprint.
Come on.
It's foreign, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've taken that standard for excellence from a for-profit industry and we utilize that every day at Our Daily Bread. You're not going to get an experience like, here's your free food. You're going to get an experience. You are our guest.
Yeah.
And there's going to be value in this and you're going to be treated like you're supposed to be treated.
Yeah.
And not because you're paying us to, but because the community's supporting us to treat you in this way.
Wow.
And then sharing ideas to continue to make our service better.
Yeah.
We don't have to reinvent any wheels.
Yeah.
People will help us. We just got to go find out what they're doing and figure out how we can implement it. It's so much fun.
I love it.
You got to come see me.
Rachel, my promise is that I will come see you. I promise I will. All right. That is a guarantee.
I'm going to hold you to it because you will love it. You might not ever leave.
I might get stuck. I don't know. If someone else leave, then maybe you can hire me. I don't know. We'll see. No, I would be too much.
I don't know if that little building can take two of us, but I'm ready to try.
We might blow the top off.
We'll bring Heady with us. That'll be so fun.
There we go. So here's the thing. Is there any like current needs at Our Daily Bread that you can express, be it any type of resource, anything?
Yeah. So
any current goals, future goals?
We have so many goals. I love talking about goals. Again, that would be a whole another 2-hour segment. But, we need salon volunteers. We ask that you be a licensed barber or cosmetologist. Our goal for that is to really try to be open every time we have a shopping session so that people can get a free quality haircut. That's just such a need and it's expensive. Yeah. So we would love to get our salon staffed every time we're open. It's volunteer. But I promise you will be absolutely rewarded. We always need extra hands. We always accept money. I don't know if you've noticed the eggs are $5 a gallon.
Yeah, come on.
A gallon, a dozen.
Eggs, come on.
I know.
I think I might give me some chickens. I don't know.
They are such a good source of protein that our board has committed that we will continue to give every family that comes in a dozen eggs.
Wow.
And so, it's costly.
That's costly.
We have a lot of people with their families that instead of giving money, they would really prefer to go buy things we need. So if you ever question exactly what grocery item we're not able to purchase right now or that we need more of, give us a call and we can tell you like, hey, we need dish soap this week. And it's really cool. We'll see families come in with dish soap and they put it right on the shelf so that they know it's going right in hands. Breakfast cereal, oatmeal, rice. All the non-perishable staples, we always need those things. So
yeah. So here it is. Everyone that's listening, volunteers, if you have resources, finances, you have whatever you have that can help Our Daily Bread, I'm going to gently challenge you to reach out to Rachel, and they can reach you again, but give us the number.
Yes, so our address. Website is ourdailybreadstillwater.org.
Okay.
The phone number, just our general phone number, is 405-533-2555.
Yep.
Mine is 2560 at the end, my direct line. I would love for everybody to just come out and see what we're doing. If you have questions, call me. I want to show you. And I like to throw tours to our assistant director, Melissa, because I talk too much. But I usually follow and I interject at times when there's time. But I promise I won't take up 4 hours of your time. But we love the work we're doing. We're supported by the community. It's our daily bread. It's not my daily bread. It's our daily bread.
Come on now.
So you already own it. You should come see it. You already own it.
Come on now. I love it. So we're about to end. But before we end, I need to hear tell us a game or that you remember or a sport that you love to go see, because you're right there in Stillwater. So tell us if there's a game that you remember, a player or anything, tell us what you think about sports this period. A great memory.
Listen, I love all sports, and what I remember most about my time in college with OSU basketball, you had to enter a lottery to even have the chance to buy tickets.
Yes,
because we weren't big Gallagher yet.
The students don't understand how hard it was back then.
You were competing to even get in the door.
Yeah.
So now, you can just go. Yeah. That's crazy. So just being part of it, I just remember, we were at OSU football in some of the lean years, but we went to the Alamo Bowl.
Yep.
Of course, I was involved with the football program, so that was huge. We hadn't been to a bowl in years.
Well, because back then we were happy if we won 6 games, right?
Just so happy.
You're so happy.
So the year we made it to the Alamo Bowl, Seth was still a player, and and oh gosh, and we went to all the away games. So many road trips. Just I would challenge students just immerse yourself in that, enjoy the experience. Part of what. Part of sports, I know, academics is critical and you're going to use it your whole life. But that experience, that college experience and unifying together to cheer for a team. Yeah. Man, the Cowgirls beating Baylor the other night, I was losing my mind. There's
huge win.
So much cool things going on now. But some of my dearest memories are being with my friends when we would win in a football game or a basketball game and just the excitement and the energy. Because obviously I thrive on that. But it's something in your experience that's so rare. I'm not going to be part of the student body for a sports event anymore.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah,
there was that time I could do that. Yeah. So man,
and at that time, like when you're at a game and it's a big game or you win and nothing else matters in that moment.
So
nothing else
happy.
matters. That's one of the things I think about when they say, you know, Les, what is your favorite part about what you do? It's like, you know, I get to help people kind of forget about the weights of the world and everything that's going on. And in that moment, you're there in that moment. You're not thinking about school, class, money, resources. You know, if someone is sick in your family, at that moment, you're thinking, I'm here at the game. And that's
it's enjoyment. And I don't care if you're 20 rows ahead of me or 10 rows behind me or you're in the
We're
club.
We're trying to high five
everyone.
We're
on the same team.
Yep.
Let's all wave it out.
Wave it out.
And we're all together. And I love, it's just community. And I love that Stillwater and OSU also brings in that bigger community.
Come on. Well, Rachel, y'all are playing a huge part of the community. I commend you all and take my hat off. My hat is on right now, but I definitely take my hat off to, you know, what you all are doing at Our Daily Bread, because, you know, there's a need in our community. And I think sometimes, you know, we overlook, I'm not saying we as collectively overlook, you know, those that are in need. And so I just say, you know, I'm praying the best for you all, and I'm praying that people that are listening or watching, that they will go to Our Daily Bread Stillwater, right?
Yes. Our Daily Bread Stillwater.org.
.org. Yeah, I got to get that .org in there. I didn't want to say .com.
No, because then it'd be all wrong.
Yeah. Our Daily Bread Stillwater.org. I want to gently challenge everyone to go out there and help and participate some type of way by giving something. We all have something that we can give and help others. So, Rachel, it's been great sitting down with you.
It has been so nice to get to know you.
Yes, man. Likewise. And I promise you, I am coming to see you.
I can't wait. You're going to love it. You're going to love it.
There we go. Well, my name is Les, nevertheless Thomas, and you are spending your time with Stillwater America. Be sure to go follow us on Instagram, Facebook, all of the things. Stillwater America. Have a blessed day.